What if a single word etched into skin became both a promise and a quiet burden? What if the tattoo fans celebrate as the ultimate symbol of love is also the mark of an invisible pressure no one dares to name? And what if Rolling Stone just opened the door to that truth? Rolling Stone has done it again. This time, the magazine did not merely photograph Jungkook of BTS or recount his chart-topping achievements. It peeled back a layer fans thought they already understood and asked a question that now refuses to fade from the global conversation. Is Jungkook's iconic ARMY tattoo a pure declaration of devotion, or has it slowly transformed into an emotional weight he carries every single day? The question sounds provocative, almost uncomfortable, and that is exactly why it is spreading so fast. In the latest feature published by Rolling Stone Philippines titled Jungkook, No Limits, written by Crystal Bell with striking photography by Jungkook Jr., the world's most famous magne speaks with a calm honesty that feels more dangerous than any scandal. There are no dramatic confessions, no explosive headlines in his own words. And yet, between the lines, fans are reading something deeper, something that feels raw, unresolved, and painfully human. Why is the ARMY tattoo suddenly at the center of this storm? Why now, after years of fans praising it as the ultimate proof of Jungkook's loyalty? And why are some fans beginning to wonder whether that loyalty has demanded more from him than anyone ever realized? The Rolling Stone interview arrives at a crucial moment. BTS is preparing for a long-awaited reunion after their military hiatus. Jungkook is 28 now, no longer the wide-eyed teenager who joined the group at 15, no longer just the golden magne, expected to shine endlessly. He is a global solo artist, a fashion ambassador, a veteran of fame who has lived more of his life under a camera lens than away from it. And in this transition, every symbol he carries is being re-examined, including the tattoo that spells out the name of the fandom that helped build his career. The ARMY tattoo on Jungkook's hand has always been more than ink. Fans remember when it first became visible, how it sent shockwaves through social media, how it was celebrated as a bold, permanent declaration of love. In an industry where idols are often discouraged from showing personal attachments, Jungkook's choice felt radical. It felt fearless. It felt like a promise carved into skin. I am with you forever. But Rolling Stone's intimate portrayal has reignited a different interpretation. What if that promise, once made, never allows him to rest? What if every mistake, every moment of exhaustion, every desire to step back feels heavier when the world can point to his hand and say, "You owe us perfection"? Jungkook does not say this outright. He does not blame ARMY. In fact, he never stops expressing gratitude. But as he talks about his relationship with the present, his dislike of dwelling on the past, and his need to keep his mind empty when he is not on stage, fans are connecting they cannot ignore. When someone has spent years feeling stuck after constant output, when rest becomes the thing that reignites creativity, it raises an unsettling question. Was he running on obligation rather than inspiration for longer than anyone knew? Rolling Stone Philippines frames Jungkook as a man learning how to breathe again. After 18 months serving as a military cook, away from stages and screaming crowds, he describes how distance from music paradoxically brought him closer to it. He speaks about avoiding overthinking, about pouring inspiration only when the time is right. These are not the words of someone desperate to please at any cost. They are the words of someone who has learned, perhaps the hard way, that endless giving without pause can hollow even the most passionate artist. And this is where the ARMY tattoo becomes complicated. For years, fans have taken comfort in the idea that Jungkook's identity is inseparable from BTS and ARMY. The tattoo symbolized unity, permanence, and mutual devotion. But permanence can be a double-edged sword. When your love is permanent, so is the expectation. When your gratitude is carved into your body, does it leave room for vulnerability, for imperfection, for the freedom to say, "I need a break," without guilt? In the Rolling Stone interview, Jungkook reflects on how he prefers the present moment over nostalgia. He laughs at photos of his younger self and says plainly that he does not like the past. For an idol whose entire journey has been meticulously archived, replayed, and romanticized by fans, this statement lands with quiet force. It suggests a desire to escape the version of himself that others continue to hold on to, including the version who made promises when he was still growing into adulthood. The feature also highlights his current lifestyle, details that might seem mundane at first glance, but reveal a man seeking control in small, personal ways. He talks about eating once a day, about the satisfaction he feels when he finally sits down to that meal. In an industry obsessed with discipline and sacrifice, this admission feels both familiar and unsettling. Is this routine self-care, or another form of pushing himself to extremes? Rolling Stone does not answer the question, and Jungkook does not frame it as suffering. He frames it as balance. But balance, for someone like him, has always been precarious. As a global ambassador for Calvin Klein since spring 2023, Jungkook continues to exist at the intersection of art, commerce, and image. His surprise appearance at the brand's spring-summer show in Manhattan underscores how little his star has dimmed during BTS's hiatus. If anything, it has intensified. Yet Rolling Stone's portrait suggests that behind the polished visuals and luxury branding is someone fiercely protective of his inner life. Someone who keeps his personal world intentionally small. That privacy is reflected in his relationship with social media. Jungkook famously deactivated his Instagram account in 2023, only returning in July 2025 without posting a single photo. To some fans, this was playful. To others, it felt like a boundary. He remains active on Weverse, where he shares everyday moments and spontaneous live streams, including the now iconic broadcast where he fell asleep in front of millions of viewers. These moments are intimate but fleeting, controlled yet vulnerable. They offer connection without surrendering everything, and yet, the army tattoo is always there. Visible, unavoidable. A permanent reminder that his bond with fans is not just emotional but physical. Fans' reactions to the Rolling Stone Philippines article were immediate and intense. On X, the magazine's post garnered thousands of likes and reposts within hours. Many praised the interview for its honesty and warmth. Others zeroed in on the images of Jungkook's tattoos, especially the one that sparked this renewed debate. Comment sections filled with conflicting emotions: pride, protectiveness, concern, and a growing discomfort with the idea that love might have turned into pressure. Some fans began asking questions that once felt taboo. Does Jungkook feel trapped by expectations? Does he feel obligated to be perfect because he knows how deeply ARMY invests emotionally in him? Has the tattoo, meant to symbolize unity, become a reminder of a standard he feels he cannot fall short of? These questions do not accuse. They ache. The Rolling Stone piece does not sensationalize these fears, but it provides enough emotional context to make them impossible to dismiss. Jungkook talks about how working on his 2023 hit 7 featuring Latto reignited his passion for music. He describes it as the most important and special moment for him, the song that pulled him out of a creative stagnation where everything felt like a hassle. That admission alone hints at how close he may have been to burnout. 7 did not just top global charts and debut at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It symbolized renewal. It was Jungkook choosing desire over duty, excitement over obligation. And perhaps that is why fans are now revisiting every symbol tied to his past sense of responsibility, including the ARMY tattoo. Born in Busan and sent to Seoul at just 13 years old after auditioning for a talent show, Jungkook's life has been defined by early sacrifice. Joining BTS at 15, he grew up under the watchful eyes of fans and critics alike. He learned who he was while the world watched him learn. His solo song, My Time, from the 2020 album Map of the Soul, 7 captured that feeling perfectly, expressing the loneliness of growing up too fast, of losing moments others take for granted. When Rolling Stone Philippines describes him today, it describes someone who has survived that accelerated life and is now trying to slow it down. He directs music videos. He experiments with sound. He avoids repeating the same performances and songs. He wants to evolve, not just for fans, but for himself. And this is where the emotional tension sharpens. Evolution requires freedom. Devotion demands consistency. Can Jungkook have both? The ARMY tattoo symbolizes an unbreakable bond, but bonds can tighten. Fans do not want to be the reason Jungkook feels burdened, Yet they also cherish being the reason he keeps going. The Rolling Stone interview sits uncomfortably in that space, forcing a conversation that has no easy resolution. As BTS prepares for their return, reportedly working on new music in Los Angeles, expectations are once again reaching a fever pitch. The world is ready for a comeback that will redefine pop culture yet again. But Rolling Stone's portrait of Jungkook suggests that this next chapter will not be about proving anything. It will be about protecting something fragile, his sense of self. Rolling Stone Philippines describes the interview as an intimate look into Jungkook's life after military service, and that intimacy is precisely why the army tattoo feels different now. Seen through this lens, it is no longer just a badge of loyalty. It is a question etched into skin, one that asks whether unconditional love can coexist with personal boundaries. When fans look at Jungkook's hand now, they are no longer just seeing a symbol of pride. They are seeing a story. A young boy who promised everything. A global star who delivered beyond measure. And a man who is quietly learning how to give without disappearing. The army tattoo a vow that empowers him, or a reminder that he must always be more. Do more, be more? Rolling Stone does not answer that question. Jungkook does not answer it either. He simply lives with it. In the present moment, he says he prefers, carrying both gratitude and weight in the same breath. And perhaps that is the most unsettling revelation of all. Not that Jungkook regrets the tattoo. Not that he resents his fans. But that love, when it becomes permanent, demands a level of emotional strength no one should be expected to sustain alone. This is not the end of a story. It is the beginning of a conversation ARMY never thought they needed to have, and the question remains, louder than ever. When devotion is written into skin, who takes care of the heart beneath it? What happens when the world refuses to let a symbol stay simple? What happens when a tattoo that once felt like armor slowly begins to feel like exposure? And what happens when millions of people project their hopes, fears, and expectations onto a single word written on one man's hand? This is where the conversation surrounding Jungkook's ARMY tattoo grows darker, deeper, and far more emotional than anyone anticipated. After Rolling Stone Philippines published its intimate portrait of Jungkook, something shifted in the global fandom atmosphere. The article did not accuse. It did not speculate recklessly. It simply observed. And yet, those observations acted like a spark thrown into dry grass. Fans began revisiting old clips, past interviews, live stream moments that once felt casual but now carried new weight. Every smile was reanalyzed. Every silence felt louder. Every moment of exhaustion suddenly seemed like evidence of something unspoken. The tattoo, once a triumphant declaration, became the focal point of a collective unease. Jungkook has always been known for giving more than expected. From the earliest BTS performances in cramped venues to sold-out stadiums across continents, he sang with a hunger that bordered on self-erasure. Fans praised his work ethic, his perfectionism, his relentless drive to improve. He became the standard, the benchmark, the golden one. But Rolling Stone's feature quietly asks what that gold was forged from and how much heat it required. In the interview, Jungkook speaks about disliking the past, about preferring the present moment. On the surface, this sounds like healthy mindfulness. But for fans who have watched his journey unfold frame by frame, it also sounds like fatigue. The past, for Jungkook, is not just memory. It is expectation. It is a version of himself frozen in time by millions of people who fell in love with who he was at 17, at 20, at 23, and who now struggle to accept who he is becoming at 28. The ARMY tattoo ties all those versions together. It is permanent in a way that memory is not. It does not fade. It does not evolve. And that permanence is what makes some fans uncomfortable now. Because how do you grow freely when the world expects you to remain the same? Rolling Stone Philippines highlights Jungkook's pragmatic approach to life. He laughs at old photos, shrugs off nostalgia, and speaks plainly about what keeps him grounded. There is no theatrical angst in his words, no dramatic declarations of suffering. Instead, there is something quieter and more alarming: normalization. The normalization of pressure, the normalization of constant self-regulation. The normalization of carrying responsibility as if it were simply part of breathing. When Jungkook talks about avoiding overthinking, about keeping his mind empty when he is not working, it sounds like survival. It sounds like someone who has learned that thinking too much can be dangerous when your life has been consumed by others' projections for over a decade.